In this lesson, we're going to look at an important sweep from the closed guard called the sitting rollover sweep. This sweep works best when my partner is leaning away from me. Now, I can do it when he's leaning forward. We can talk about that a little when we're done. But the ideal situation is when he's leaning away. So if he is leaning away from me, which may be his attempt to get posture, or it may be his reaction to my really being aggressive about trying to get his collar, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock my feet, placing both feet on the ground, close to his hips. I'm then going to swing my arm around as a method of giving me some motion to sit up. So I'm coming to sit up. I like to sit up right onto this elbow. I want to also swing the arm around so I don't get caught by him as I'm sitting up. So get this out of the way, sit up, and then just pat the back of his elbow. What I'm looking here is to remove his ability to post. So I don't want to overhook the arm because that doesn't do anything to his wrist's ability to post. I just want to pat beneath the elbow, lift up, turn to my right, and hit him hard as high as possible with my left hip. So my left hip hits him, rolls him right over his leg, which is a cylinder there, and I'm directly onto the mount. It's a great reminder that the guard really is just an upside-down mount. That's why there's very little motion here. You know, there's a lot of sweeps you can do that end you into someone's guard, into their half guard. The best sweeps are the ones that take you directly onto the mount, both for positional control and for points in a tournament. So once again, I'm working on him here. He's leaning back. I let go, put my feet on the ground, swing my arm up onto the elbow. My hips are already in the air. Tap his elbow here. I just need control of this for the moment that he's falling. That's all. Hit him with my left hip. Roll right over my foot. And come on top. A couple of problem areas you want to watch out for. I mentioned already, simply sitting up with this hand in the way gets my own hand in the way. So I want to twist the cylinder of my body. So even if he is pushing me here, I'm changing the shape of my body here as I sit up. The next thing is I don't want to have my toes out like that. That's just going to create a bigger block for him, and it could injure my ankle. So I want to point my toes so my leg will go flat to the ground and will just roll right over my leg. I'm not knocking him back. A lot of people think in terms of sitting up and trying to take him back. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, that puts him right onto his foot as a post. I want to lift up and knock him exactly 90 degrees to that leg. So if his leg was spread out more, then I would be moving in that direction. If his leg is in tight, I'm moving 90 degrees, and we take him over onto the mount. I mentioned it can be done if he's lower. Okay? If he's lower on me, then it's because in some ways that brings the top of his spine lever closer to my hip. It just means I need to hit harder. So if I were to sit up here, I'd really attack hard with the hip and get him over.
It's important to realize, just focus on, this comes up in a lot of different situations in BJJ. When you want to roll him over this leg, it's worthwhile taking a look at it because it will really vary. Some people will have it forward, in which case to roll that, you'd have to drive in that direction to get the hip on the ground. Other people will have it spread like this, in which case you've got to roll in this direction, nearly in like an 80-degree change. So it's worthwhile having a look at that leg as you come up to hit that roll. Let's have a look at it now, another way to do that, or another way to set it up. It's just a different setup with exactly the same principles applied. In this situation, I'm going to have a cross sleeve grip on his arm. And I'm going to sit up, grab his head, and pull him down. Now, I know his reaction to this is going to be want to get his posture back. So I undo my feet first. Now I let his head go. As he goes to sit up, I follow him up and punch it out in the air. Now there is no chance of him holding me down. All right, so I'm basically following him up. As he goes up, I let him go. I'm ready to follow him up. I post up in the air. I come up on my hand. I sweep him. Because I've got his hand here, he's going to be pretty relaxed. He's going to put it out there to post. But just before it hits the floor, I pull it away and go on the mount. I like doing this because it works in a couple of different ways. One, he's way more relaxed. If I take this post away, particularly if I did the sweep incorrectly, came up and grabbed it like that, now he's automatically going to lean away because he has a fear of falling this direction. So by getting a cross sleeve grip, there's no real threat. He feels he can post, so he doesn't have to lean to his right. The other thing is when I let him go and I jack in the box up, I come up, because I've come out here, I've lengthened this shoulder lever from that to that. So that's a way bigger lever for me now to turn and rotate and take him down. So that's just another way to apply it. One final point, depending on how tall you are or how tall your opponent is. As David's already mentioned, it's really important when I come up for this move that I lift my hip as high as I can. Now, if your opponent's way taller than you, how high you can lift your hip will be dependent on where this hand is. Let's exaggerate. If my hand was out there, I'm only lifting my hip that high. So the highest I can lift my hip is when my hand has become vertical. So that's obviously places a little bit more strain on your wrist, but it's going to allow me to lift that hip really high to get the maximum leverage to take him over. If you're taller than your partner, you may just find it absolutely fine just to come up in the elbow. The advantage of that is it's faster. So it's harder, it takes a bit more time to get up in your hand, but you may need the extra height depending on the differential between you and your partner.
We also want you to notice the relationship on this sweep with some of the attacks that occur in the same position. Okay? So if you've been following along in our curriculum with the lessons, you know the shoulder lock, okay, which involves the same sitting up motion. You also know the front choke or guillotine choke. So all of these can be used in concert. And what I would suggest you do if you want to drill it that way as a combination is you go for the sweep first, okay, because you always want to improve your position. I go for the sweep, and if I fail to control him here, that's my chance now to open up the space and go for that attack. Or I miss the sweep, that's my chance to open up the space for the guillotine. It's a great combination move.